Hello and welcome. My name is Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind The Country Chic Cottage. Today we're going to wood burn with a Cricut machine and use it to create a variety of handmade gifts. And I'll even have more ideas at the end of this video for you to create handmade gifts with your Cricut machine and wood burning. So we are going to use a Scorch Marker, which is a special pen that has a special chemical inside. Use it in combination with stencil film to add designs to wood, and then a heat gun to actually apply the heat and get that wood burned look onto various real wood surfaces. This technique is really easy, but it makes really stunning gift ideas. So let's take a look at the supplies you're going to need. The supplies you're going to need are as follows. So you'll need some wood blanks. So I am going to talk about the blanks in a minute, various options that you can use. You'll need some stencil film, transfer tape, scissors, a brayer, painter's tape, a scraper, a weeding tool, and then the star of this is the Scorch Marker. So I'm using the Scorch Marker Pro that has both a writing tip as well as a brush tip. And then you will need a heat gun. So I will probably turn this up to like 1000 degrees. So you definitely need a heat gun that gets really hot for this project. And then I also recommend some kind of heat resistant mat. Your easy press mat will work fine. That way you don't scorch or burn your tabletop. So now let's talk a little bit more about blanks and how to choose the right ones. So let's talk blanks just a minute. So you do want real wood blanks, and no finish at all on them is preferable. If they do have a finish, you can sand it off lightly and try to do this technique. However, I had mixed results with that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Raw wood is definitely best, and real wood is definitely the best of those options. Now, how can you do this? Number one, you can have real wood at home, like boards, that type of thing. You can cut them into different pieces. I have some examples of that where my son took them and cut them into squares for coasters for me, and a few keychain blanks that he made as well in his wood workshop. So you can definitely do those options if you have wood at home or enjoy woodworking. Second option would be to purchase wood blanks. In the case of this sign, I purchased the wood blank from the craft store. Third option would be to cut basswood if you have a Cricut maker. And I'm going to show you how to do that in this video as well. So in this video, we're going to cover burning of the wood, and that would be the same no matter what wood surface you're going to work with. And then after that, I'll cover your Cricut maker and cutting wood. For those of you that have the maker and the knife blade, you might want to use that option instead. So first, let's head to Cricut Design Space and look at uploading the free SVG file that I'm going to give you. Yes, free SVGs. Be sure to look below this video for links on how to get those. Grab your free files and start uploading them to Cricut to make these projects. So let's take a look at how to do that. The first thing you're going to do is upload any files you want to use. So you'll do that by clicking upload, then upload image, and choose the image from your computer. Once you have those uploaded, they will appear in the upload screen, and you can choose each one and click add to canvas. I've already added mine to the canvas and resized them to fit my wood pieces. To resize each one, you may need to ungrip the file, then pick each piece and resize it either using the box with the arrow or type in a size in the top toolbar. Now for things like the wildflower and the Choose Joy, I did have to pick both items and click attach to make sure they were attached together. That way they cut together once you click make it. So now I have several different pieces here for several different stencils for projects I'm working on, and I'm going to go ahead and click make it so we can cut these out of our stencil film. Once you click make it, you will click on a mat unless you're using the smart vinyl material. So these are going to be very, very close the way Cricut has them laid out to make a stencil. So what I like to do is move them around and use this entire sheet. So we're going to pick each one and drag it around, and you do want, say, an inch or so around your design if possible. Less would be fine, and you can add painter's tape, but we do want quite a bit of room around each of our pieces. This does not have to be perfect or exact, but you do want to be able to cut in between each one after they are cut out of your material. So I'm just going to continue, move each of these pieces around so that there's plenty of space around them, and then we'll take a look at cutting our designs. I did want to point out, even if you need to, you can use this rotate button to rotate it around, and then you can just locate it on your wood piece correctly so it does not matter what orientation they are to cut. So now I have everything spaced out on my mat. I'm going to go ahead and click continue to cut, and I'm going to pick stencil vinyl as my material. So now that we have everything in Cricut Design Space, we can start cutting our stencil film and burning that wood. Let's take a look at how to do that. So here's our stencil film, and we'll put it with the liner side down on a mat. And I do like the blue light grip mat for this material. So we'll just line it up with the grid lines, put it on the mat, and press it down really well. You can use a brayer for this if you would like, not required, but it does help to get your material stuck down to the mat really, really well. And then I've chosen flexible stencil film as my material, and my fine point blade is in my machine. So this will work with any Cricut machine. Here I'm using a Cricut Explorer Air 2, but you can use any Cricut machine to cut this material. You do not have to mirror your cuts, so we'll just load the mat, and then press go to cut. Once that's done, we'll unload the mat, and now let's take a look at these cuts. Leaving it on the mat may be easier for weeding, so we're going to do something called reverse weeding. So we're going to pick up everything you want wood burned onto the surface. In this case, I'm going to pick up all of the leaves that I've cut and weed away all of this vinyl. So I'm just going to continue weeding all of my pieces, and then we'll come back and see what to do next with this material. You can now see what I meant by reverse weeding now that this entire thing is weeded. So things like the centers of letters you leave with reverse weeding. Everything that I want wood burned into my surface, I would remove from the stencil film. And now we'll just remove this from the mat. So what we'll do is just cut around each of these, leaving as much area as possible around the outside, and then we will use painter's tape as well. So I'm just going to cut around each one of these, and then we'll take a look at how to apply this to our wood surface. So for each of the stencils, we're going to use transfer tape to apply it to a clean wood surface. So I'm just going to add the transfer tape to the front of my stencil, and then we'll just burnish that down well first. Then we'll just start peeling back the backing paper away from that stencil film, and you want to leave the stencil film itself on the transfer tape. Then you just locate this onto your wood surface, just wherever you would like it to go. And then we'll just press that down well with the scraper, making sure it's down on the wood really well. Then you'll just want to start peeling the transfer tape back this time, leaving the stencil film on your surface. And now you may want to cover up any areas with some painter's tape. So I just like to cover anything that gets close to the stencil, or like this little area down here. I want to stop about right there with my wood burning. I don't want to go any further than that. So I just want to block that portion of the stencil off. So there we have our piece ready to be wood burned. So now we'll use the Scorch Marker on our stencil. You do want to make sure that your stencil is down really well, so you might go over it one more time before you start using the Scorch Marker. The Scorch Marker Pro has a bullet tip as well as a foam brush. So the foam brush end is a brush that you could apply the liquid to your stencil. I do like the marker end. So when you remove this, if the marker's new, you'll need to start the marker off of your surface. So I usually use a paper towel. As you can see, this one is started, so you can see the liquid is pink. If it's not started, you'll push the tip down repeatedly to get it to start flowing. You can also have, like, this is just a scrap piece of wood veneer, and you can draw on it so you can get a better idea of, is the marker flowing and what color is the liquid on your surface. Then once the marker's flowing, you know the liquid's coming out, then you move to your stencil. So never start on your stencil. Then we'll move over here to our stencil, and it's just like coloring in, like a coloring book page. We're just going to color in the entire surface. And I like to do 2 coats. So I color it in, allow it to dry, color it one more time, allow it to dry completely with the stencil on, then remove the stencil. So that gives me plenty of liquid in my stencil, and it makes a really nice look when I go to wood burn. So I'm going to go ahead, continue filling in this stencil. We'll let it again dry, 1 coat, then add a 2nd coat after it's dry, allow that to dry before removing the stencil. Once this is dry, after that 2nd coat, you'll want to remove everything. So the painter's tape, the stencil, everything from the surface. You should be left with just a pink outline of whatever you're using. So the Scorch Marker itself leaves behind a pink tint on the surface of your wood, and that indicates, of course, that you've applied it correctly. So you do want to make sure that you have that pink outline of your stencil. And then we'll just remove everything and start burning our wood. Then I just have the wood piece on a heat resistant mat. I have a heat gun, I have it turned up to about 1,000 degrees, and I run it over the surface. You don't want to get too close to the surface or hold it in one spot too long, but you do want to heat the wood adequately in order for it to burn. You'll start to notice a change and a darkening in the area where you put the scorch marker. You can heat this as long as you would like and get it as dark as you would like. Just for comparison, here's one that I have not wood burned yet, and then here is one that has been heated. So you can see how much darker it got with the application of the heat gun, and this does not rub off. However, you will need to seal it, so we will talk about sealing options later in this video. Alright, so wood burning, definitely amazing. Now, if you want to make your own wood pieces and you have the Cricut Maker and the knife blade, you can do that as well. I promised you a tutorial, so let's take a look at cutting wood with the Cricut Maker. So first I'm going to start in Design Space and we'll take a look at designing your project. I won't go into the uploading the SVG portion that we did earlier. I'll just walk you through actually designing the wood portion of the earrings that we're going to make. The easiest way I found to make earring shapes is just to use the shape tool in Cricut Design Space. You could also upload your own designs or try the images tab. I'm going to use a few free shapes as well as some paid shapes to make my earrings, and you can resize them either by using the corners and the arrow button or by typing in an exact number in the top toolbar. And then for each of these we'll duplicate them, so that way we'll make 2 of each earring type. I'm going to go ahead and add a few different earring blanks. Now I do not add a hole in them at this point for the pieces to hang the earrings. So you can add studs with something like jewelry glue, or you could poke holes in these after they're done for an earring that dangles. Either way you want to do it, but I don't add any holes at this point, no matter what type of earring I'm going to make. When you go to cut, you will want to make sure that you have either the Maker 3 or the Maker chosen as your machine, and then you'll click Make It. We're going to pick On the Mat. I'm using a piece of Cricut wood that is not the 11 by 11 size, so I can click these and move them around if I have a smaller piece of wood and I want to utilize it. And then we'll click Continue, pick basswood as our cut setting, and continue cutting on the Maker with the knife blade. So now we have that file ready to cut in Cricut Design Space. Let's take a look at the supplies you'll need to cut wood on your Cricut Maker machine. Remember, you'll need a Maker or Maker 3 for this portion of the tutorial only. Wood burning on your Cricut can be done on any Cricut machine, but cutting of the basswood can only be done on the Maker or the Maker 3. To cut wood, you will need the Cricut Maker along with the knife blade, and you'll also need a computer as the knife blade does not work on mobile. And then I'm using the Cricut basswood, some painter's tape, a brayer, and a strong grip mat. First you want to put the wood on the strong grip mat, and remember I put my earrings across this way, so I went ahead and laid my wood out that way. And then you want to run your brayer over it really, really well, making sure it's stuck down. And then we're going to add painter's tape all the way around the outside edge. And you just want to grip the very edge of the wood, press the painter's tape down, and repeat all the way around the wood, making sure everything is stuck down completely. This will keep the wood from shifting and ruining your cuts. Now I'm using a wide painter's tape, and it's going to stick off the edge of my mat over here, which I do not want. So what I do is just take some scissors and run it along the edge of the mat just to trim that away, then press it down once again. You want to add your knife blade into the Maker, and you want to move the star wheels all the way over to one side. The star wheels will create a drag on your wood, so before I finish taping this wood piece, I will need to trim a little bit off the edge. The piece of wood that I'm using is 12 inches. It should really only be about 11, so I'm just going to use my craft knife to trim that wood off just a little bit and then add tape to this end. So now that I've trimmed this off, taped all the way around the outside edge, you can see that the star wheels will not drag on the wood at this point. If the star wheels drag on your wood, you do run the risk of the pieces not being cut correctly. So I do always recommend making sure that the star wheels will not run on your wood on the side. So then we're going to go ahead and load the mat. I picked basswood 1/16 inch as my material, and I'm going to press the C to cut. The maker will then cut all of your pieces. About halfway through, you might want to pause your machine and check your cuts. You do want to pause your machine when the mat is out as much as possible, so I'm going to go ahead and resume this and try again here. So now it's out as much as it's going to get, and you can kind of check your cuts with something like a weeding tool, see if they're cut through. So I can see that this one is cut through. The last thing to cut through will be the corners. Now I can let this go. It's on like past 10 of 14. I can let this go, let it keep going around. However, that will cut into my mat. If I don't want to cut into my mat, I can pull it out now. But these corners might need finished with a manual craft knife, just running along the cut until this is cut through. I like to go ahead and eject it, that way I don't cut through my mat on this circle that was already out. So I'm going to go ahead and eject this piece. And then let's take a look at these cuts and see if I need to manually finish any of them off. We'll just go ahead and start removing this tape from around the outside. And then we can just lift this outer piece up, and it's a lot easier to turn it over a lot of times. And then you can see several of these are just falling out. So they were definitely done. And you might have a few that aren't cut all the way through. You can see like on this one, it wasn't quite through. So what I would do is just use, like I probably won't use this piece of the wood so I can use it as a scrap. And I just manually cut that off. And then if some of them won't come out, that one's fine. So this one is not coming out. So that means that the cut isn't all the way through, probably somewhere in here. But I can go ahead and cut that through. So you can put your Cricut mat under this. You could put another cutting mat underneath it, does not matter. And then you just kind of try to see where the cuts aren't through. So I can feel that on that corner, the cut is not quite through. So I just run my knife along the cut until it feels like it's through. So then now that's all the way out, and we can go to this next corner and start working our knife on it. So you just want to repeat until everything is cut out. If I had continued the cuts with the Cricut machine, in areas like this, it would have cut really deeply into my mat, and it can even cut all the way through your mat, ruining your mat. So I do recommend always checking your cuts when cutting something like wood, anytime you use the knife blade really, and then just manually finishing them if you need to. So I'm going to go ahead and work these pieces out, and then we'll take a look at wood burning these earrings. Then you just apply your stencil film in the same manner as we did before, use the marker again, and wood burn in the same exact way. So I'm just going to apply some stencils to these and go ahead and wood burn my earrings, and we'll come back and take a look at the results and how to finish these off. To finish off the earrings, I used a crocodile to punch a hole in each one. For these, I just used a couple pair of jewelry pliers, some jump rings, and some jewelry findings to add the pieces to the earring. Then for this one, I just used some dazzle tack with some studs and glued those to the back and allowed that to dry. Now these are complete. I also made some keychains, and for those I just put the key ring through the hole that was already in the keychain pieces. So you will need to finish off each of these gift ideas before giving them. So I did want to encourage you when you're wood burning to wood burn over your entire surface. So this is the back of this keychain, and you can see it's one color. But when I burned it, the wood sort of alters colors, and I make sure that I go over the entire surface of the blank so that the entire thing is one color once I'm done. I did the same thing with the earrings. You might notice a slight difference in color. And on this piece, I made sure not to only wood burn in this area, but to also go into these areas with my heat gun and alter the color slightly so that it isn't so drastic a change between where you haven't put your heat gun and where you have, because the wood will slightly discolor. Once you have finished your wood pieces, a sealer is recommended. So on something like this sign, I could just put a polyacrylic over the top, or I could leave it unfinished. Since this is a sign, it won't be seeing much wear. If you're making something with this technique that might be exposed to food, you will want to use a food-safe wood protectant. Now, I like this butcher block conditioner. However, there's also like shellac products and things like that that are food safe. So be sure to look for something that is food safe. If you're going to use it on something like a wood cutting board and going to burn the wood cutting board, you'll want to use this on top before you actually use the cutting board itself. For the keychains, the earrings, I might do a polyacrylic over the top. For something like the coasters, I might even do an epoxy over the top just because these will be seeing a lot of moisture. So you could epoxy over the top as well. So hopefully those are some sealing options for your projects, no matter what project you decide to tackle. So now you see me make quite a few projects. You know how to wood burn with your Cricut machine. So now, what are some ideas to give as gifts? I like to give wood coasters, wood earrings, wood keychains, and of course, wood signs. So all four of these ideas, you would follow the same procedure as we did at the beginning of this video with cutting your stencil film and applying it to the surface. The wood earrings, you could purchase wood earring blanks or you could cut them if you have a maker machine. Now, a few other ideas for you if you want to expand out beyond this. I love to use this technique on wood cutting boards. So think about a recipe on a wood cutting board that was handwritten by your grandmother and you put it on your wood cutting board. Wood burn it in and then seal it with that food safe wood protectant that we talked about. Be the perfect handmade gift for the holidays for just about anybody on your list. I also like to use this for like wood spoons on the handles. Makes a great gift idea when paired with something like tea towels. You can also use this technique on a wood round for like a door hanging. There are just so many ideas. So anytime you see an unfinished wood piece, think about using your Cricut machine to do a little wood burning. So let's talk about how to get those SVG files. First of all, there is a free SVG with just the floral designs, and we'll have that below this video. Then I've also used those floral designs to make a few other SVG files that you might enjoy. So I have a bundle of 4, and I'm also giving that away for free when you sign up for my email list. There will be a link below. Just follow that link, sign up for my email list, and then those files will be sent to your email. And from there, you can use them to create wood burning gifts or any other project, right? So if you've used your Cricut machine and SVG files, you might have other ideas for those files as well. I will also have there a link to sign up for my 7-day free Cricut class. So if you are new to Cricut or struggling with your Cricut machine, I highly recommend my free 7-day class. You sign up, you get 7 emails delivered right to your email inbox. You can do it all in 7 days, or you can pace yourself and do it over an extended period of time. It teaches you everything you need to know about your Cricut machine from the very beginning all the way to more advanced. So if you like this tutorial, you might like that class as well. So I do hope you enjoyed these ideas. If you did, give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions about anything we've covered at all, please drop down in the comment section, ask away. And if you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos just like this one every single week, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of those. So thank you all so much for joining me today, and I can't wait to see what you create. Bye-bye.